Christine's gone for sure and for good, and Janelle is most likely. And it's like this is the final nail in the coffin of our dream.
Coyote Pass was supposed to be the Browns' fresh start, a sprawling piece of Arizona land, wide and open, where each wife would have her home, where children would run free, and where unity could be built from the ground up. On television, Cody painted the picture with dramatic flair. This is our legacy, our future, our family's promise. Christine and Janelle believed in that dream. They poured their hopes, their time, and their sacrifices into the idea that Coyote Pass would one day unite them all. Mary listened quietly, her doubts unspoken but present. Robin smiled through tears, assuring viewers she believed in Cody's vision, but in court, Coyote Pass wasn't a dream, it was evidence. The land that once symbolized unity became Exhibit A in a trial about betrayal. Because behind the sweeping desert views and Cody's grand speeches, the truth was stark. Coyote Pass was never about family. It was about control. The court examines how the dream of Coyote Pass turned into a battlefield of broken promises and financial manipulation. On Sister Wives, the Browns spoke of Coyote Pass as if it were destiny. Each wife would one day have her own home, and the family would finally be united in one sacred place. Cody promised fairness. He promised equal shares. He promised that every wife, every child, would benefit from this land. But court records told another story. The deeds revealed that ownership wasn't balanced. Parcels that Christine and Janelle were told they'd one day control were tied up in Cody's name, and Robin's. Payments on the land were routed through accounts that Christine and Janelle didn't even know existed. The prosecutor laid it bare before the jury. What you saw on television was a vision. What you see here in these documents is the reality, and the reality is, Christine and Janelle were investing in a dream they never truly owned. Christine's lips trembled as she stared down at the paperwork, proof of what she had long suspected. Janelle leaned forward, calm but resolute. Her strength etched into her posture. Mary stayed still, her silence both a shield and a cage. Across the aisle, Cody's jaw locked, his face hard with anger. Robin dabbed her eyes, her tears flowing freely. The jury scribbled, their eyes darting from paper to patriarch. Coyote Pass wasn't a dream anymore. It was evidence. Evidence that what had been sold as family legacy was, in truth, a funnel of control. The court hears testimony about how loyalty determined access to the land, and how dissent meant exclusion from the dream of Coyote Pass. The prosecutor called the next witness, a former financial consultant who had worked with the Browns during the years when Coyote Pass was first being developed. Can you describe the discussions around how the land would be divided? The consultant nodded. Cody spoke often of fairness, but behind closed doors, fairness meant loyalty. If a wife was cooperative, if she didn't question financial decisions, she was promised land. If she pushed back, her share was always vague, always delayed. The jury leaned forward. Was this favoritism ever put in writing? The consultant opened a folder. Inside were notes taken during meetings with Cody. On one page, in his handwriting, a line circled twice. Loyalty equals land. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Christine covered her mouth with her hand. Janelle's eyes narrowed, her face calm but unyielding. Mary glanced down, her silence louder than any word. Cody's complexion reddened. He shook his head furiously, whispering to his attorney. Robin pressed tissues to her face, her sobs echoing through the chamber. The prosecutor's voice was steady. Coyote Pass was sold as a family legacy, but in practice, it was leverage. It was a system that rewarded compliance and punished dissent. The jury scribbled furiously. For Christine and Janelle, the dream of Coyote Pass had become a reminder. Loyalty was demanded, but never rewarded. And in court, that truth finally had proof. Christine takes the stand herself, revealing how her hopes for Coyote Pass crumbled under broken promises. Christine walked slowly to the witness stand. Her steps were steady, but her eyes carried the weight of years. She raised her hand, swore the oath, and sat down. The courtroom stilled. The prosecutor leaned forward. Christine, can you tell us what Coyote Pass meant to you? Her voice wavered but held. It was supposed to be a fresh start, a place where my kids could grow, where I could finally feel like I had a home of my own. Cody promised us each a lot, a space to build. He told us it would be equal. And was it? Christine shook her head, tears glistening. Every time I asked about progress, the answers shifted. Deadlines moved. My share was never secure. I was told to be patient, to trust, to sacrifice more. Meanwhile, I saw resources go to other places, other people. The land became something dangled in front of me, never something real. Her words echoed through the chamber. The gallery murmured. Reporters scribbling furiously. The prosecutor handed her a document. "Do you recognize this?" Christine nodded. "Yes, this was the parcel I was told I'd one day own." Her voice cracked. "But my name isn't on it." The jury's expressions hardened. Christine wiped her tears, her voice steadier now. Coyote Pass wasn't about family. It was about control. And the more I tried to hold on to the dream, the more I realized it was never mine to begin with. Janelle blinked back tears, nodding faintly at Christine's words. Mary stared down, silent and withdrawn. Across the aisle, Cody clenched his jaw, his face flushed with fury. Robin's sobs grew louder. Her tissues crumpled tightly in her hands. The prosecutor let Christine's testimony linger before speaking. "Thank you, Christine. No further questions." Christine stepped down, her truth now etched into the record. Janelle takes the stand, and her testimony reveals not just broken promises, but financial manipulation tied directly to Coyote Pass. Janelle walked to the witness stand with calm determination. She raised her hand, swore the oath, and sat down, her papers neatly stacked in front of her. Where Christine's voice carried heartbreak, Janelle's carried precision. The prosecutor began. "Janelle, can you tell the court what role you played in the family finances regarding Coyote Pass?" Janelle nodded. "I managed much of the budgeting. I tracked payments. I balanced what came in and what went out. I believed in the dream of Coyote Pass, so I worked hard to make sure we could afford it." "And what did you discover as you tracked those finances?" Janelle's voice was steady, almost clinical. "I discovered that payments were inconsistent, that funds I thought were allocated to the land were being redirected, sometimes to household expenses, but often to things that had nothing to do with the family dream: vacations, jewelry, tuition, and those payments almost always benefited one household, Cody and Robin's." The jury scribbled quickly. The prosecutor handed her a document. "Can you explain this exhibit?" Janelle adjusted her glasses. "Yes. These are bank transfers. I flagged money that should have gone to Coyote Pass. Instead, it was rerouted through an LLC that Christine and I didn't know existed." Gasps rippled through the gallery. Christine's eyes filled with tears, her face reflecting vindication and sorrow all at once. "Janelle," the prosecutor asked softly, "what did this mean for you?" Janelle inhaled deeply. "It meant I was investing in a dream that wasn't real. I made sacrifices for something that was never meant to include me fully. I kept the books, I saw the numbers, and the numbers don't lie." Christine nodded faintly, her hand brushing her eyes. Mary stayed frozen, her silence a wall between her and the storm. Across the aisle, Cody shifted angrily, whispering harshly to his attorney. Robin's sobs shook her shoulders. The jury watched Janelle closely. Her clarity, her calmness, her authority with numbers. Her testimony didn't just wound, it calculated, it proved. The court hears from the children, and their words reveal how Coyote Pass symbolized favoritism even in their eyes. The bailiff called the next witness. A hush fell over the courtroom as one of the Browns' adult children stepped forward. They raised their hand, swore the oath, and sat down. The prosecutor's voice softened. "Can you tell us what Coyote Pass meant to you as a child?" The witness took a shaky breath. "It was supposed to be the dream. Dad said we'd all live there, that it was our family's future. We believed it. We even imagined where our mom's houses would be. But as we got older, we realized it wasn't real. It was just a promise he used when it was convenient." The gallery stirred. The prosecutor leaned closer. "What do you mean by convenient?" The child's eyes flickered toward Cody before looking back at the jury. "He would talk about Coyote Pass when he needed us to believe in him, but behind closed doors, we heard him and Robin planning. like it was only theirs. And when Christine or Janelle questioned him, he'd say they were ruining the dream. Christine brushed tears from her eyes. Janelle nodded faintly, her expression a mix of sorrow and vindication. Mary kept her gaze low, silent, and withdrawn. Across the aisle, Cody's jaw tightened, his fists clenching on the table. Robin's sobs grew louder, tissues shaking in her hands. The prosecutor asked, "How did that affect you and your siblings?" The child's voice trembled. "It made us feel like Coyote Pass wasn't for all of us. It was just for them. We grew up knowing some kids had more, while others had less, and the land became a symbol of that. Who was loved? Who was loyal? Who mattered?" Gasps filled the gallery. The judge's gavel slammed. "Order!" The jury scribbled furiously, their expressions grim. The land that once represented hope now stood exposed as proof of favoritism, even in the eyes of the children who had dreamed of playing there. The defense makes its move, arguing that Coyote Pass was nothing more than a delayed dream, not deliberate deception. The defense attorney rose, buttoning their jacket with deliberate calm. They paced slowly before the jury, their tone softer now, almost persuasive. "Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard a lot about Coyote Pass. You've heard disappointment, frustration, even heartbreak. But what you have not heard is fraud. Dreams take time. Building homes takes money. The Browns are a large family with complex dynamics. Delays do not equal deception. Broken promises do not equal intent to harm." They gestured toward Christine and Janelle. "Yes, these women are hurt, but is hurt the same as fraud? Or is it the natural result of a family stretched too thin?" The attorney turned to Cody, raising their hand. "Cody Brown is not a villain. He is a man who dreamed too big, who tried to juggle too much, who carried the weight of a family larger than most could imagine. And Robin, sitting beside him, has done nothing more than share in that burden." Cody nodded sharply, his jaw clenched in approval. Robin dabbed her eyes, her sobs timed with the words. The defense pressed harder. "Coyote Pass is not a crime. It is a vision delayed. A dream deferred, nothing more." The gallery murmured. Some shook their heads. The jury scribbled, their faces unreadable. Christine sat steady, her lips pressed tight, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. Janelle's arms folded, her composure steel, her eyes fixed on the jury. Mary remained withdrawn, her silence a fortress. The defense's words hung in the air like smoke, an attempt to cover the fire, but unable to smother it completely. The prosecution strikes back with hard evidence, the financial trail that proves Coyote Pass wasn't delayed, it was diverted. The prosecutor rose, binder in hand, their tone sharp and deliberate. "The defense wants you to believe Coyote Pass was a dream deferred, but dreams don't have bank transfers. Dreams don't have LLC filings. Dreams don't have receipts." Screens lit up as exhibit after exhibit appeared. Exhibit 27, a wire transfer. Funds from the family account labeled Coyote Pass Payment redirected into an account managed solely by Cody and Robin. Exhibit 31, an LLC registration. Quietly filed, quietly operated, with ownership listed as Cody Brown and Robin Brown, and no mention of Christine or Janelle. Exhibit 35, a handwritten note in Cody's planner. The words underlined twice, "CP secure, others wait." Gasps spread through the gallery. Reporters scribbled furiously. The jury leaned forward, their pens racing across paper. Christine's hands trembled as she wiped tears from her cheeks. Janelle's arms crossed, her face calm but fierce, her vindication clear. Mary stayed withdrawn, her silence a wall between her and the storm. Across the aisle, Cody flushed red, his jaw locked, fists clenched on the table. Robin's sobs grew louder, tissues crushed tightly in her hands. The prosecutor's voice cut through the quiet. "This is not delay. This is diversion." While Christine and Janelle were told to sacrifice, their land was funneled into control by Cody and Robin Coyote. Pass wasn't a dream deferred. It was a dream stolen. The jury scribbled faster, their faces grave, sympathy was gone. All that remained was calculation. The attorneys deliver their closing arguments, framing Coyote Pass as either a broken dream or deliberate betrayal. The judge's gavel cracked. We will now hear closing statements. The prosecutor rose, their tone sharp and commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the evidence. You've read the documents. You've heard the testimony. Coyote Pass was sold as a dream. But dreams don't come with LLC filings. Dreams don't come with secret transfers. Dreams don't come with receipts for vacations and jewelry. Christine and Janelle poured their sacrifices into a future they were promised. Instead, they were deceived. Their loyalty was leveraged. Their hopes were exploited. This case is not about land. It is about betrayal, and when you deliberate, you must ask yourself, is a dream still a dream if it was never meant to be shared? Christine brushed her tears silently. Janelle nodded faintly, her resolve steady. The defense rose next, their tones softer, pleading. Yes, mistakes were made. Yes, promises fell short, but that does not mean fraud. Families argue, families stumble, dreams sometimes collapse under the weight of reality. Cody Brown is not a thief. He is a man who dreamed too big. Robin is not a conspirator. She is a woman who shared her husband's burden. Do not let disappointment become deception. Do not let resentment become proof. Cody nodded firmly, his jaw tight. Robin sobbed into her tissues. The defense sat. Silence filled the courtroom. The prosecutor stood once more, their voice sharp as steel. Coyote Pass was never for everyone. That was the lie, and the evidence proves it. The jury sat still, their pens lowered, their faces grave. The arguments were over. The verdict now belonged to them. The jury delivers its decision, and with it, the dream of Coyote Pass dies forever. The jury filed back into the courtroom, their faces solemn, their steps heavy. The foreperson clutched a folded piece of paper. Christine and Janelle leaned forward, their breaths sharp but steady. Mary sat still, her silence unbroken. Across the aisle, Cody sat rigid, his fists clenched, his jaw locked. Robin clung to his arm, her sobs echoing through the chamber. The judge's voice rang out. Members of the jury, have you reached a unanimous verdict? Yes, Your Honor. The paper was handed up. The judge unfolded it slowly, scanning its contents before speaking. In the matter of Brown versus Brown, we, the jury, find in favor of the plaintiffs. Gasps filled the gallery. Reporters scribbled furiously. The gavel cracked. Order, the judge continued. We find that financial impropriety occurred. We find that Christine and Janelle were misled regarding Coyote Pass, and we find that the promises made were not supported by evidence. Christine closed her eyes, tears streaming. Not of sorrow, but of vindication. Janelle's chin lifted, her calm composure finally breaking into relief. Mary sat motionless, her silence its own verdict. Across the aisle, Cody's face drained of color. He slumped back into his chair, the patriarch stripped of authority. Robin sobbed harder, tissues crushed in her hands, her tears no longer carrying weight. The judge placed the paper down. The verdict is entered into record. Court is adjourned. The gavel slammed one final time. Coyote Pass. Once the Browns' dream, their legacy, their promise of unity, was dead. Not because of land, but because of lies. Outside, headlines erupted. The verdict that ended Coyote Pass. Brown family legacy shattered in court. From dream to deception, the fall of Coyote Pass. Inside, the Browns knew the truth. The land was never the dream was control. And with the verdict, that control was gone forever.